And we're back for lesson 4.1, part B, starting on page 183. And I should have turned the page up. Here we go. This is going to actually factor a polynomial by removing the greatest factor. So in the previous page, we were identifying the polynomial or the greatest common factor. This time we're going to actually separate it out. Really important concept here. When you're factoring, what you have before you do anything has to equal what you have after, okay? Because we're not dividing our expression by something, we're factoring it. Now, sometimes if it's really complicated, it might help to write it as a division to help you do the division, because you are dividing it by the thing, right? When you factor, we factor 20 and 4 is your factor, you divide it by 4 to get 5, but you need the 4 there as well. I hope that made sense. So let's just work through this. Just remember, you have to include whatever you're factoring out as part of your answer. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. I look at this, I look at the 21 and the 14. Those have a 7 in common, so I can factor out a 7. That's my only common factor here. And then I just check that 7 times 3x, that gets me 21x, and 7 times 2y gets me 4y. We are better at multiplying than we are dividing or factoring, so it's always a really good idea to just double check your factoring. Even if you just do it in your head, just take that few seconds and do that, okay? All right, common factor here is going to be 5x squared. You see that? There's the 5 in each of these, and then x squared is the smallest, the lowest degree of our x term. So 5x squared times x squared is 5x to the 4th. 5x squared times 3x is 15x cubed, and 5x squared times 1 is 5x. Awesome. Next example. This time, we're just showing you this in different ways, so you're just coming at the question in a different way. So it says to finish this. So this time, they're telling us they're factoring out the 5a. 5a times a is 5a squared. 5a times what equals 25a? Well, 5a times 5 equals 25a. So there you go. That's it factored. In example B, we factored out a 2. 2 times what equals 19p? 9p. 2 times negative 8q is going to be negative 16q. Awesome. All right, this time we factored out negative 2m. So if you picture dividing this by negative 2m, what are you left with? Well, I'm left with 2n, right? And then if I divide this by negative 2n, remember, when I'm doing this, I'm thinking about I have this and I have negative 6m squared. So if I divide this by 2m, didn't write that correctly, 2m, I'm left with positive 3m. So if I come back and double check this, negative 2m times 2n is negative 4mn. Negative 2m plus 3m is minus 6m squared, which, happy days, is what we started with. Okay, this has got 3 of them. So if I divide this by 9x, I'm going to have 2xy squared. And if I divide this by 9x, I'm going to have minus 5y. And if I divide this by 9x, I'm going to have plus 1. Don't forget the 1. That's really easy to miss and really important that you don't, okay? If you have 3 terms in your question, you are going to have 3 terms inside the brackets when you factor it, okay? And this is what I was, when I was saying, remember that you have to include what you're dividing it by. If you do write it like this to help you, you have to have this 9x here, right? That's what's going out in front because that's what you're pulling out of it, okay? Example 5, factor each polynomial. Okay, common factor here, 2 is all I see. And then 2 times 10x is going to get me 20x, and 2 times negative 3 is going to get me 6. Common factor here is 4x squared. So I need another 4x squared plus 1. Okay? If you haven't already, I always encourage you to pause the video and try these on your own and then come back and check them. Okay? This is 2ab squared times 5a squared plus 4b plus, I've got 2, I've got the a, I've got b squared, I need another b squared. There we go. Okay. Here my common factor is going to be 3p. So I've got a 4p squared left and a minus 2p and a plus 5. If you're finding this difficult, please forgive me, and please ask me for help. I don't know how to slow this down. And I feel like if I had students in front of me for this lesson, it would be, you'd be asking me questions, or I'd see your faces going blank or something, and I would know where to slow down and whatnot. But I'm not getting that feedback on this. So if you're having trouble with this, please do come and ask me, okay? That's what I'm here for. All right, this example is my common factor for my numbers is 5. I've got an x, I've got an x, I've got an x, so I can only take out one x. I've got y squared, so I can take that. I've got y to the 4, so I can take my y squared, and I've got y squared, so I'm good to take the y squared out. And here I've got z cubed. Here I've only got z squared, which means that that's the most I can take out now is z squared. And then this is more, so that's okay. If I got to my last term here and it didn't have any z's, then I couldn't factor out z's. I just have to drop that. All right, what do I need to multiply this by to get my 25x y squared z cubed? Well, I need to multiply 5z, and then I'd have to multiply this by negative 4x y squared, and then this is 6x cubed z cubed. Okay, that's it. Remember to just double check things. Okay, it's always a good idea. I'm going to pause this here so you can go and do some practice. When you get to the word problems, come back and watch the next video. Bye.